What's going on, everyone? This is Kevin here, coming at you with OnePlus Nord N300 5G camera tips and tricks. So stay tuned if you want to learn how to get the most out of all the various cameras on your device. Now, the first thing I want to do is go over all the actual cameras that we're getting here with the phone, starting with the front-facing camera. Now, this camera is 16 megapixels and it does support portrait mode. And then on the back of the phone, we have a dual camera setup with a 48 megapixel main camera and then a 2 megapixel depth sensing camera so that we can get portrait mode with the rear camera as well. Now, here's how things look on the camera app on the device. This is the main camera right now. Then from here, we can go over to portrait mode so that we can actually use that feature. So we can get those nice blurred out backgrounds. And there are additional toggles. So right here is the blur adjustment. So you can go stronger with the blur or weaker if you want to. Then heading back, we have this button right here, which gives us access to retouch and filters. Essentially with retouch, it gets rid of various blemishes. Now for me personally, I set that to 0 because I want the picture to look exactly how things are in real life. But I suppose if you want to use that, then it is there for you. And then also with filters, you get a variety of different filters. You can see that there's natural, Delight, Crystal, Warm, Candy. I mean, there's all kinds of different filters that you can choose from here, which is pretty cool as well. So that's worth checking out. Then from there, you can go over to the More tab to access some additional modes. So there's Pro Mode, Extra HD, Pano, Slow Motion, and Time Lapse. Now, going over to the Pro Mode, there's a lot of additional toggles, such as the ISO, white balance, contrast, all of that, so you can make those adjustments manually if you want to. Then heading out of there and over to Extra HD, essentially you're getting enhanced quality here when capturing images. There's also the ability to go over to the filters as well in this mode, which is pretty handy. You can also go to this little tree icon on pretty much every mode in the camera to zoom in. So it does give you a 2x zoom, but keep in mind that that zoom is just digital zoom and not optical. Then going over to Pano, that's pretty self-explanatory, but essentially you can capture a panoramic photo. So I'm kind of doing it quickly here, but you get the idea. Then from there, I can stop it and take a look and see what the results look like. So there's the photo I just took. Of course, I can go a lot wider with that too if I wanted to. And then from there, there's also slow motion and time lapse, as I mentioned. Those are pretty self-explanatory. Now, what's cool too is that all of these various options on this bottom slider, you can actually customize that. So you can go to this pen tool here, and then from there, you can rearrange these various icons. Now, some of these that are here by default, such as night mode and portrait, you can actually remove those and stick them in this other More tab if you want to. And then you can take something else like Pro mode and then move it down here. So that's pretty awesome. So you can see after doing that, portrait mode is indeed in this More section. And then we have a quick toggle over to Pro mode. So something worth considering if you want to customize things to exactly how you prefer to use your phone. So definitely very intuitive there. Now heading back to the main photo mode here, if you want quick access to Google Lens, you can go to that button right there. That's a really cool service that I feel like is super underrated. Then going over to video mode, we have some different toggles. So you can see here that we can quickly switch between 1080p and 720p. Unfortunately, there is no 4K video recording with this phone, but at least we do get 1080. And then even for video, you can go to this button here and use the retouch or filters, which is pretty interesting as well, but as you can see, it is limited to just 720p for those modes. We also have night mode as well, so if it's getting a little bit dark out, you can definitely use this to kind of make your pictures look a bit better. But then heading back to the standard photo mode, there are a few other things I want to show you here. So in this top bar, the first thing here is the flash toggle. So you can have the flash off, always on auto, or an additional setting here where the flash is pretty much on at all times for a fill light, which is pretty interesting. So it is actually on right now. So that's pretty cool. There's also HDR if you want to enable that. You can also set it to auto as well. There's also an AI mode here too. So AI scene enhancement, that might be worth trying. It kind of just depends on the situation that you're in. Now, another thing worth considering too is that this device does have a 48 megapixel camera, but it doesn't actually capture images at 48 megapixels by default. And the reason for that is because photos would take up a ton of space on the phone. Now, if you want to take photos in the full 48 megapixels, then just go up here, tap on this button, and you'll switch it over to that, and then you can begin capturing content. Now again, generally I recommend just sticking with the defaults for this, just because you don't want your phone filling up so quickly. But in certain situations, it can come in handy having that extra megapixel count for your images. So you can give that a try and you can see how crisp everything is. Even zooming really far into this photo here, there's still a ton of quality retained. So that's one benefit of capturing images at 48 megapixels. Another convenient toggle too is that if you just swipe down, you get more options. So there's a timer, you can have it be off or 3 seconds or 10 seconds. Also an aspect ratio adjustment here too. So 4:3 is the default. That's kind of the standard for pretty much any camera, but you can do 1:1. So that's great for Instagram, for example. You can also do 16:9, which is great for thumbnails. So if you're creating a thumbnail for a video, that's perfect. And then there's also a full frame mode too that takes up the entire display when capturing an image. Now in the upper right corner, you'll see these 3 dots. If you go there, you can also see this pull down area, but then there's also an option for additional settings. So going into here, there's even more things to see. Now the first one here is called watermark. Essentially, if you want to add a watermark to all your photos, you can. There's also additional options too. So the first thing is, if you want to add your watermarks to photos and videos or one or the other, you can do that as well. So going here, you can see add watermark to photos is kind of the default mode for watermarks, but you can indeed add them to videos or both photos and videos as well. The next part here is author name. Now I've noticed on other OnePlus devices that I can't actually type in my full name here. You can see I can't actually type in Breeze. It's too many characters. Now, I feel like my name isn't even that long, so that's kind of something I feel like they should change because not that many people have a name that is that short. But I'll just do Kevin B for now and then save that. And then if you want to say shot on OnePlus, you can. If not, you can get rid of that. If you want to add the location, you can enable that. And then also if you want the date and time, that's kind of nice too that you do have the ability to have that added to the photos here. So now with the watermark enabled, I'm going to go back, going to take a photo. Let's go to that photo and you can see it. It's very small in the corner there, but it does indeed say Kevin B. Now heading back into the settings area, there's also a grid and guides. So going there, you can choose a grid if you want to. So we'll go back and now you can see things are split up into the rule of thirds, which is pretty nice if you find that to be helpful. Also heading back over to that section, there's diagonal lines as well. Let's check that out. So that's pretty interesting. I'm not very familiar with the benefits of that, but nice to see that it's there. We can also try out golden spiral. Let's see what that does. Wow, okay, yeah. Definitely something outside of my photography knowledge, but pretty cool there too. And let's see here. I'm going to disable that for now. There's also a level. So if you want things to be exactly level, this is actually pretty convenient. I use this a lot with different devices that support it. So that's pretty cool. We'll head back over here and see what else there is. So we'll disable that. There's also shutter sound. So right now by default, when you capture an image, it does make a sound. Now, I'm not a big fan of that because it's pretty unnecessary. So you can disable that. And then now when you capture images or take video, it's going to be completely silent. Then heading back over here, there's flip selfie, save selfies as they appear in the viewfinder. Also, there's location. So display location information in photo and video details. Then going further down here, there's shooting methods. So we'll take a look at that. So the first one here is tap to capture. So tap anywhere in the viewfinder to take a photo. Let's give that a try. And there we go. That does work very well. So that might be something that you might want to enable there and try out. We also have show palm. So show palm to front camera to take a selfie. We'll try this. And I'll flip around. And there we go. Looks like it's working. There we go. I took a selfie with my palm. Another cool trick I want to show you too is that if you double press on the power button, it'll quickly and immediately pull up the camera. So let's try that. And you can see it pulls up the camera right away. Now by default, you can actually use the volume button as a shutter button. So we'll give this a try. I'm going to flip around here and essentially I'm going to do volume up and it captures the image. Volume down also captures an image, and you can do this in both photo and video mode. Now heading back over to here, you can customize that then. So you can have it act as a zoom function instead, or if you just want the volume buttons to control the volume, you can do that too. We'll try out zoom. We'll go back here and then volume up, zooms in, and then volume down, zooms out. So pretty cool. There's also show dirty lens warning. So if your lens is smudged or has some dirt on it, it will give you a heads up for that, which is very helpful. Definitely kind of get in the habit though of keeping your lens clean as you're able to take the best looking photos possible. There's also a quick launch. So double press either volume button to launch the camera when the screen's off. Let's try that out. So I'm going to turn off the screen and then I'm going to double press on a volume button. And you can see it immediately took us over to the camera. So yet another really convenient way to quickly access the camera, even without having to go in through the whole phone's operating system. But this concludes my video on camera tips and tricks for the OnePlus Nord N300 5G. Overall, despite this being a lower end budget phone, we are getting a lot of different features when it comes to capturing photos and videos on this device. And hopefully you learned something new today in this video. Now if you did and you liked the video, definitely give it a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. But this is Kevin here. This is the OnePlus Nord N300 5G, and I will see you in the next video.